the disrespect of democracy and the rule of law, So the right thing should be done by the leaders in these places.
Now that it's not done and it's affecting you, what would be your...
I would do the right thing. I always want to ooze of positivity, We do the right thing and hope that other people will emulate us. Be sure that Uganda has always been a bad example in terms of democracy. And I'm sure that it's because of Museveni's misrule that some leaders, especially in Kenya and Tanzania, have picked the examples, the bad examples, which I think should by all means be avoided. We in Uganda should be a good example. As we're fighting for democracy, when we achieve it, we should be exemplary to the rest of East Africa.
Mr. President, there is a war in Congo, and each of course we under the umbrella of the East African Army, each of these neighbors deployed. But then these fights are spilling into your country. But you want to respect, and every answer you are giving is respect for sovereignty. That's what I want to assure. How will you deal with these kind of inflows of fight within the neighbors?
I would look for the cause before I address the consequence. I look for the disease before I address the symptom.
It's just political unrest within their country. They are fighting for power, two leaders, and then they have so many rebels. I mean, those fights are coming within your country.
Have you looked at our responsibility? About the same, our involvement? When you look deeply, you'll find that we, as the Uganda Army, are more or less the oil beneath the flame. And when we stop being the oil beneath the flame, maybe that will cease. And when the unrest ceases, we'll have less inflow of refugees into Uganda. But because it's a vicious circle, you will find the UPDF robbing and raping and causing mayhem to the extent that the International Court of Justice fined us hundreds of millions of dollars. The refugees that come from those places that we destabilize flow into Uganda as refugees, and we purport to host them and treat them well, thereby winning international silence about our atrocities just because we take care of the consequence that comes out of that meddling. So that's why I'm saying I would address the cause.
So you would not allow refugees into your country?
No, we definitely allow refugees who are Africans. We are brought up with Ubuntu. But my point is, dealing with the problem is not only treating the symptoms, but healing the cause.
Would you take your army to help the government of Congo fight their rebels? Is that what you're saying?
No. I would stop invading Congo.
Yeah, let's speak a little bit about diplomacy. How would you relate with the superpowers that we see across the world? We know that for a very long time, President Museveni has been in bed with America. But over time, we know that it's been changing now. It's going more east to the China. And looking at even Kenya, for instance, which for a very long time has been a very big nemesis to the US. But just recently, we saw the president of Kenya going to occupy the highest seat in the US, in the White House. how would you be shaping all these in terms of creating diplomatic calls, creating those diplomatic talks, and making sure that you have, we depend on these diplomacies for very many things. How would you be shaping your kind of government to talk, to think?
Unfortunately, African leaders lately tend to relate with Western countries, not for the benefit of their people, but for regime survival, which I think shouldn't be the case. As president, my biggest focus will be here, empowering our people locally, making sure they relate to their own land and make the best out of it.
So, President, we don't live in isolation.
Yeah, we absolutely don't live in isolation, but first things first. Not so many years ago, maybe 50 or 40, China was not in the place where it is, but they took time to study themselves. This is the same module that Thomas Sankara used to, in just 3 years, transform Burkina Faso. And so is Traore. And I'm not saying we are downloading Traore or Sankara policies, because there's so much that I disagree with them as well. My point here is, I would promote a belief, because it's a belief that I hold, that Uganda will not be transformed by anybody else apart from our ourselves. So I would spend more time seeing how it works, how we can use what we have, so we build ourselves up by our own bootstraps. But also, I would relate with the international community, with the superpowers, not as a beggar, but as a business partner. Not looking for charity, but for partnership.
Maybe a question about you. How is your relationship with some of the embassies around in the country? Is there a time you just need to talk about the country, talk about what's happening and things like that?
Well, we have a good, cordial relationship with all nations and all embassies. Because in any case, I'm a Ugandan leader, prospective president, and when I take over as president, not if, when I take over as president, I'll find myself having to relate with them, or they'll find themselves having to relate with me and my team. So we maintain a cordial, decent relationship. We don't necessarily have to take their policies for Bible truth, because we are a sovereign country. But we hold so dear the shared values of democracy, respect for human rights and the rule of law, and the like.
The trend that's coming within, especially the West African states, whereby people your age, the Burkina Faso's, Traore, all those, do you see this happening in East Africa, or even in Africa, or Uganda to be particular, in the near future, in changing guard from the old to the young people?
Absolutely. There's only one thing that cannot be stopped in the world, and that is change. So there will definitely be change in Uganda. How? When? Those are the questions to be answered.
Do we see a young generation leader coming up like we've seen in those other states?
But you're looking at one. You're looking at one.
I see. As I wind this up, I would like you to paint for us a picture of what the next 2 weeks before the election look like for you. Is it even anywhere beyond maybe 1 or 2 weeks? What it looks like, and how you're handling this?
As you must have heard, there's been heightened abductions and arrests, and we expect this.
I have reported about it.
Yes, exactly. We expect more of that. You know, we expect more intimidation. We expect the regime to deploy the military and police and polling station. We expect the internet shut down. But we have encouraged the people of Uganda to stay firm and demand for what is rightly. Excuse me, as a leader, and a leader that believes in non-violence, and a leader that knows that I'm targeted and followed everywhere. I use the time that I have to preach as far wide as possible. Jesus did not build the churches that we see. No, just preached the gospel. Yeah. Even, I mean, the best mosque that we have, the one today, maybe Nabi Muhammad never saw it, or even looked at it.
Yeah.
So, we are preaching and fighting. And it's our hope and prayer that we are going to see freedom in our lifetime and in our kind of youthful days. But whatever it is, for me as an individual, I've persuaded myself and come to terms with the fact that whatever it is, I as an individual must not give up. We as a generation must not give up. Not giving up is a victory in itself. You cannot defeat somebody that does not give up. So if you don't give up, you are never defeated. For me, as an individual, I'm running for president, but my most important agenda is to keep the hope alive. For as long as the hope keeps alive, it's a win. Yeah.
On the 16th or 17th or thereabout, the electoral commission will be announcing the figures. What is your projection in terms of your figure? Beating Museveni with how many?
Honestly, we can beat Museveni in a free and fair election. I'm looking at us winning between 80 to 85% of the vote nationwide.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Banange oja kuji edit simanyi obadde ojaji editinga watali azza kabi
Bana bye president abiba